Hey folks, it's Andu, and I'm here to review the Nerf Elite Triad, as well as compare it to the classic Nerf Jolt. So, just taking a look at the package, some interesting things here. First thing I noticed, actually, oddly enough, is that the image of a Triad on the back is different in a few small ways from the actual blaster in the package. I'm guessing this is either a CGI image or much more likely a prototype that they photographed for the packaging. Just little differences. There's a screw hole on the picture in the back that isn't on the actual blaster. The Triad name on the side is absent from the one on the back. And the Nerf logo is orange rather than black. So little things like that. It comes with 3 Elite darts. It claims that it has 75-foot range. Instructions: pull down cocking handle to ready, pull trigger to fire. Repeat for the next dart. So it's just like a Jolt that fires 3 darts without you having to worry which hole they're in. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing this. And yeah, it looks like an interesting blaster. I have no particular love or fascination with it, but it is odd, little, definitely new, kind of a unique thing. And I happen to have one because I'm working on a project for a buddy in the engineering department that involves this blaster, which will be posted later. And let's take a look. So I just unpackaged the blaster, and the first thing I have to say, I love the Elite color scheme. My favorite color is blue, and the white stripes took me a while to really get used to those on these new Elite blasters, but it has grown on me. It did come with 3 Elite darts. Something interesting that jumped out at me while I was looking at it in the package: on the heads of Elite darts, or actually of all darts, there's usually a little letter embossed in it that I just can't possibly show you on this camera. And normally they have a J or a K. I'm not sure exactly what those means. They might mean different manufacturing plants, I think I've heard somewhere. And some people prefer J's over K's or vice versa. Well, this has a W. And this is the first time I've ever seen that, and I can definitely feel a difference in these darts compared to the J's and the K's I've seen in other darts, in other packages. The rubber head and the foam itself is much stiffer. It feels like it's got some more density and heft to it. So that's really interesting to me. I wonder why that is. Maybe they're trying to make the darts heavier so that they have better flight characteristics. I know Elite darts, if you start modding blasters, they become unstable fairly quickly because they have a very small optimal flight speed. But yeah, that's really interesting to me. Also, there's a sticker on the side. It says, "For best performance, do not store darts in blaster." That's something most modders and nerfers know. You don't want to leave your darts in a blaster or leave a blaster stored primed. However, darts or blasters that don't have magazines that load from the front, say Mavericks with their cylinders, or Jolts and such like that, the darts don't deform too much sitting in blasters like these. But still, it's a good idea not to leave darts in a blaster. Something I'm noticing right off the bat, it feels much more comfortable than the Jolt. And while it's very similar in style and it's the same basic functioning principle, the Jolt handle is much smaller, and it looks like the plunger tubes are different size. The plunger tube on the Triad is actually bigger, and the extension they put here in front of the plunger tube is actually much more ergonomic on the Triad, which is nice. Another thing I'm noticing, the trigger is much more comfortable. They put a nice, wide, slightly textured pad or leading edge on the trigger, and they rounded it very nicely on the edges too, so that is very comfortable. Let's see here. Looks like I've got a little piece sticking out here on mine, but whatever, that's not going to be on the final result, the project I'm working on. Another thing, it doesn't look like it comes apart in half. It seems like just this back piece comes off, and the rest of the blaster is a solid, except for the moving parts. The main shell is a solid piece that was molded, and I do see a seam where the two halves of the mold came apart, but that's something that makes the Jolt and the Triad difficult to modify. And let's see here, comparing the handles, or the priming handles, the Triad is a little bigger, but it works the same way. And oh yeah, it's got a fairly tough spring in there. I really like the look of this blaster. I really do. I can't get a good look down the barrels to see if there's any air release holes, but I'll take a look at that at some point in the future. But it's not pretty. I'll give it that. It's not pretty, but it is very comfortable. And if I could attach an eye bolt, which if I had one of these I probably would, to sling this, just hang it from my belt or a vest, I mean, oh yeah. This is a nice last resort blaster, and maybe if I could pull the air restrictor system and have a little shotgun effect, that would be cool. But it's nice, easy to aim, comfortable, and one other detail I'll point out is the fact that on the Jolt, this texture padding and the Nerf logo are actually raised from the surface. They stick out, whereas on the Triad, they're sunk in, which is really cool. And like I said, the handle is very comfortable. I really like that. There you can get a look down the front. And, well, let's move on to firing. So I've got a nice pile of darts to try here. First, let's see how this barrel system works. Loading it up with all three darts. Now, something I will point out, most darts do have a hole, an air release hole somewhere, or a whistle slot. I like to make sure I keep those on the top, because that way any drag those may cause lifts the tip up as it flies, so it doesn't tend to swerve around, and sometimes it buys you a little extra range. And let's give this a firing here right into my bean bag. Alright, it fired all three darts. I'm going to try each barrel one at a time. Okay. That was stupid, I'm leaving my hand on the priming handle. Alright, so the select fire for the barrels does work, as I'm sure everyone knows, but I just want to confirm it. And let's try these two barrels. Alright, looking nice. Now I'm going to try it with some other darts here. We've got well, I'm going to put this Elite in here, this new W Elite, and the stock original Streamline. I'm guessing the Streamline won't work too well, and that's because of how far the rubber from the head extends into the foam. On Elite darts, it doesn't go down very far. On classic Streamlines, they go much further, and that interferes, or that makes contact with the dart posts. So let's see here. The Elite fires fine. The Streamline doesn't even have much of a seal, and it does fire, but not very far. Yeah, that was like 5 feet. So I've got a new tagger, an old tagger, and let's see here. I'll just do this one with the Elite again. Well, the Elite works. New tagger works fine. Old tagger as well, but that... Oh, maybe the old taggers aren't supposed to whistle. I don't know. I've got some classic micro darts with suction tips and a classic whistler. Well, not classic. It came with the Jolt. I'm noticing something here. The old micro darts, these whistlers, and suction cups don't have much of a seal at all, unlike the new Elite darts. So let's see. They still fly very well. As a matter of fact, these are sticking to the door of my suite. Nice. So I'm going to move out into the hall and we'll compare ranges with the Triad and the Jolt. Jolt, Triad, new taggers. All these firings actually will be from the bottom barrel of the Triad. These are classic micro darts with suction tips. And the Jolt. Whistlers. Back to the Triad. Now for Elites, Triad, Jolt. The Triad does have a little bit of a range increase over the Jolt in general range tests with all the darts. Advantage, Triad. Alright, now I'm going to test very quickly with the original 3W type Elite darts. I'm going to compare the ranges of all three barrels. Now for the sake of control, I'm not going to load them all because that opens all the air restrictors. There's a little bleed through to the darts that aren't being fired. So I'm going to, or so it seems, I'm going to test the bottom barrel first. And in all of these I have the air hole on top. Bottom barrel. Top left. Top right. The first two barrels didn't seem to have much of a difference at all, nothing appreciable. The top right barrel, however, fell a few feet shorter. Let's try that again. I'm guessing the top right barrel is the last in the air restrictor sequence. To test that quickly, I'll load this up with micros. It is not. Top right barrel is not the last in the sequence, but for some reason, with several Elites, I was getting slightly less range out of the top right barrel. Don't have a good explanation for it, but a worthy observation. Firing test complete. Now when it came to comparing the Jolt and the Triad, as well as comparing all of the barrels on the Triad, I know those tests weren't the most rigorous. However, I thought they were sufficient. By no means does that mean every unit's going to be the same, but final thoughts. I like this blaster. Initially I saw it and I wasn't too thrilled about it. I thought it was clever, but I didn't think it would have much use. But it's comfortable. It's got a nice size to it. Not too big, not too small. The Jolt is still kind of what you want to keep in your pocket if you're just going to play Assassination or you want something shoved in your pocket. But when it comes to a backup sidearm they have just hanging at your side, I'm going with the Triad. Especially if I could put an eye bolt on it or something like that so I can tie a string or a cord to it. It's much more comfortable with the priming handle and the grip. It's got more punch with a larger plunger tube. And the fact that it fires 3 darts flawlessly, I love it. And I think it is a worthy successor to the Jolt, even to the point of making it obsolete. So those are my thoughts. I'm looking forward to integrating this into my next project. Thank you very much for watching. Keep your stick on the ice.